learners, welcome to our next discussion, Islamic Education System Part 2. Already, we have discussed a lot about Islamic philosophy and Islamic education system. From those discussions, we have already the better idea how Islamic philosophy has their implementation in the Islamic education system. The Islamic education system in ancient India, which thrived particularly during the Delhi Sultanate and Mughal periods, played a pivotal role in shaping the socio-cultural, intellectual landscape of the time. The system was introduced, the institutionalized through madrasas, which was Islamic schools, muktabs, elementary religious schools of Islam, and higher learning centers. So, already we have discussed and we have the idea about the aims of Islamic education system, then curriculum of Islamic education system, then disciplinary the disciplinary behavior, how what kind of disciplinary behavior maintained in the Islamic education system, useful education in the Islamic, how much it is given importance, all have already we are discussing, and after that we have to analyze what are the good effect, what are the some loopholes of the Islamic education system in ancient India. So first we discuss about positive points because there are lots of positive points or merits in the Islamic education system in ancient India, because it was some to extend some different system in ancient India. So first of all, promotion of knowledge and scholarship we have to mention while we are discussing about merits or its usefulness of this particular system of ancient India. So first, intellectual growth. Islamic education emphasized knowledge acquisition, which included not only religious studies like Quranic teaching, hadith, etc., but also secular sciences such as mathematics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy, and scholars like A.I. Biruni and Ibn Battuta contributed significantly to knowledge dissemination in India. Then translation movement, we have to mention about the Islamic education system. Ancient Islamic scholars translated numerous works of Greek, Persian and Indian origin into Arabic and making them accessible to a wider audience. This laid the foundation for intellectual exchange. Then about institutional development, what were their strengths? First, establishment of madrasa. Rulers like Firuz Shah, Tughlaq and Akbar established madrasas and it became centers of learning and cultural exchange. Madrasa-e-Firuz Shahi in Delhi and institution in cities like Lahore and Agra were notable examples in this regard. And endowment of patronage, Waqf, which means charitable endowments, and funded this institution, ensuring their sustainability and accessibility for students from diverse background. And focus on moral and ethical values. This will be the strong point while we are saying about Islamic education system that focus on mental and ethical values, which is very much essential for the development of personality. And in present day also, psychology has emphasis on the personality development, different aspects of personality, because education itself, now we have realized that it's not only giving your intellectual development, it should give the all-round development. So while in the present day we are in the era of all-round development of by the system of education, then in the ancient period the Islamic education has its focus on moral and ethical values, which included character building. The education system emphasized ethical living, discipline, moral responsibility, fostering the citizenship training was like that. And Islamic values, it instilled core Islamic principles such as justice, compassion, honesty, which were integral to personal and social conduct and behavior of the human individual. Then next point about strength of Islamic education system, that we have to mention the inclusivity and accessibility. While discussing inclusivity, we have to give the point about education for the unprivileged. Madrasa often provided free education, food and lodging to the students, making learning accessible economically disadvantaged individuals, which we have find about in their history. And inclusiveness of non-Muslims. Some Islamic education centers also welcome non-Muslim, fostering interreligious dialogues and mutual respect. It means it has given importance of inclusivity, which is the measure or focusing point in our NEP 2020, because we are now encouraging that all the our Indian education system is now encouraging the inclusive education system, promotion of inclusive education system. All the learners should get the education because it's their birthright. Education now, it's regarded their birthright, which has given importance in our ancient Indian history by the Muslim education system, inclusiveness of non-Muslims. Cultural integration and syncretism. These points here we have to discuss. It means blending the traditions. Islamic educational institutions facilitated the synthesis of Islamic and Indian intellectual tradition. Influential fields like architecture, music, literature, because they realized in the ancient period also that they have realized that for our development of personality, not only we can develop through the kalimas through the memorizing the kalimas of Quran. No doubt they have given importance on the kalimas of teaching the kalimas of Qurans, because spirituality should be there. But along with the spirituality, for the all-round development of the personality, we have to give importance on other things also. So they had realized, I hope they had realized all these things and given importance, music, literature, architecture. As we in the present day, we have also see all the examples of their architectural technique in our capital of India. So this is a very much appreciable effort, we can say, while we are seeing about the Islamic education system. We have to give the appreciation to them, so that they have given a very various effort to give some contribution to the system of Indian education. Then promotion of Persian language. Persian became the language of administration and scholarship, influencing Indian culture profoundly. Then another point here is that about their merits or strength, that preservation of manuscript and libraries. It was very much appreciable that libraries established by the Islamic scholars preserved invaluable manuscript, ensuring the survival of historical and scientific knowledge for future generations. So these are some of the strength of Islamic education system, that they have promoted knowledge and scholarship. They have given their utmost effort institutional development. They have given focused on moral ethical values, inclusive and accessible education system. They have provided. Then cultural integration. They try to integrate the culture with the education system. Therefore, their aims of education was promotion of their culture in their new established kingdom. Then most significant their strength was the Islamic scholars tried to preserve their everything by establishing library. So this is most appreciable part about Islamic education system. Now we have to discuss what were the loopholes or the demerits, what you say. So first of all, overemphasis on religious studies, limited secular focus. While some institutions taught secular sciences, the primary focus was on religious education, which limited the scope of intellectual exploration for many students at that time. Then neglect of local language. Indigenous Indian sciences and philosophies such as Ayurveda and the Upanishads were often sidelined in favor of Islamic traditions. That on this ground, the system was Islamic system of education is criticized in the present day also. Then other point we can mention here, that restricted access to higher education. Although madrasas were open to the poor, advanced learning opportunities were often restricted to the elite or those with royal patronage. Already we have discussed that at that period Parda system was prevailing in that particular period. Although it was for the normal class women also, but from the women of royal families, they got education through some private tutors. So we can say, or we can criticize this education system in this ground, that no doubt they have given importance on effort on inclusivity or accessibility of education, but still there were some restrictions which were only the education was only available for or accessible for the elite class or the royal patronage. So in this ground, we can say that these are the loopholes of this particular system of education. Then gender inequality. Women had limited access to formal Islamic education, though some expectations existed in royal families. If we see the history, then we can say that in the Vedic education system, the ladies, educated women were called as Devis, but in the Muslim education system, we cannot find such privilege for the educated Muslim women. role learning and memorization. In this ground, we can criticize, or we can put some criticism in the Islamic education system, that the system heavily relied on the role memorization of the text like the Quran, with limited emphasis on critical thinking, creativity, and practical application of knowledge. And language barrier also there. Non-Muslims and locals who did not know these languages found difficult to engage with the curriculum, creating a linguistic divide because they have given importance on Arabic and Persian language. So dominance of Arabic and Persian language, it was a bit difficult for the non-Muslims students. Lack of universal education, exclusion of non-Muslims. While some institutions were inclusive, many created exclusively to Muslim students, leading to a lack of interaction and integration between communities. Then centralization of education. Most educational institutions were located in urban centers, leaving rural opportunities with limited access to formal learning. So urban biasness was there. So therefore the rural populations were deprived from getting the formal education system in that particular period of Indian history. And dependency on political stability. The survival of madrasas depended on royal or notable patronage, making them vulnerable to political instability and regime changes. Then the Islamic education system in ancient India left a lasting legacy. It contributed to the intellectual and cultural richness despite of those criticism in the Indian subcontinent, influencing its art, architecture, administration. However, its limitations highlighted the need for more inclusive and diverse approaches to education. The Islamic education system in ancient India had both merits, the merits that we have already discussed. It was instrumental in fostering knowledge, ethical values, and cultural exchange, but was constrained by its narrow focus on religious studies, limited inclusivity, and traditional teaching methods. Its integration with local traditions and modernization over time could have created a more balanced and comprehensive educational framework. So we have already known about Islamic education system and its strengths and weaknesses. So now we have to analyze what are the influences of Islamic education system in the entire Indian education system. The ancient Islamic education system has left a lasting imprint on the modern Indian education system. The influence can be observed in various aspects ranging from institutional frameworks, pedagogical approaches, to the values and subjects taught. And first of all, in this regard, we can note that establishment of educational institutions. Ancient Islamic institutions such as madrasas laid a foundation for structured educational system in India. They influenced the development of modern universities like Aligarh Muslim University, Jamia Millia Islamia University, which continue to provide a blend of religious and secular education at present day also. because before Islamic system of education has emerged in Indian system, there were no any systematic concept of schools, only Gurukula system was there. But after emerging the Islamic education, they have given a picture of a structured educational system, school system, which is also continuing in our present day system also. Then libraries and attached to madrasas inspired the establishment of research facilities in modern universities. Institutions like Khuda Bakhsh Oriental Library in Patna are a legacy of this particular tradition. Curricular integration. While Islamic education primarily focused on religious subject, it also included secular sciences such as mathematics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy. This dual approach has influenced in modern system of education to include diverse field of study, ensuring a holistic education. Persian and Arabic study. Many universities in India today offer courses in Persian and Arabic language, which were integral to the Islamic education system. These programs continue to preserve and promote historical texts and cultural heritage. Then pedagogical approaches. The practice of role learning from the Islamic education system persists in modern education, particularly in religious schools and traditional institutions. While sometimes criticized, it remains a method of mastering foundational knowledge. In this regard, also teacher-student relationship we can mention. The Islamic system emphasized the spiritual and moral bond between teacher and the students, and teacher was called as ustads and students were called as talibs at that period. A concept that continues to inspire the modern teacher-students dynamics, particularly in a value-based education. And moral and ethical education has its influence in our present day education system also, because Islamic education emphasis on moral values, discipline, ethical behavior has influenced modern curricula that integrate value education to foster responsible citizen. And the another significant point here that focus on justice and equality. The Islamic education system's principles of fairness and inclusivity resonate in contemporary efforts to promote equity in education. The Islamic education system's principle of fairness and inclusivity resonate in contemporary efforts to promote equity in education. Administrative framework, institutional endowment, the concept of work. Work means a voluntary, permanent dedication of a person of one's wealth in cash or kind to Allah, and which funded Islamic educational institution, has influenced modern charitable trust and endowments that support schools and universities. Institutions like AMU benefits from such arrangement. Then grant and patronage, the tradition of state patronage for education during Islamic rule is echoed in modern government funded institution policies supporting minority education and institutions. As per the Indian Constitution, Article 30 can trace their roots to this tradition. Culture and intellectual integration, that the blending of Islamic and Indian knowledge system during ancient times set a precedent, set an example for modern interdisciplinary and multicultural educational approaches. Then preservation of manuscript. The focus on preserving ancient texts and knowledge in Islamic education inspired archival work in modern education. Libraries and research institution body continue to digitize and catalog ancient manuscript. And promotion of lifelong learning. Islamic education emphasizes lifelong learning through community interactions and mosque-based education. This has influenced adult education and community-based learning program in modern India. And contribution to language and literature. We cannot deny the contribution to language and literature by the Islamic education system, because Islamic education emphasizes on Persian and later Urdu has left a legacy in Indian linguistic traditions. Modern curricula in many Indian schools and universities offer Urdu, Persian as a part of their language studies. And these are some of the influences of Islamic education in our present system of education, which we can relate. And ancient Islamic education system in India has profoundly influenced the present education system, we can say, through its focus on structured institutions, moral values, and the broad curriculum, while the modern system has moved toward greater inclusivity, secularization, and technological advancement. The fundamental elements of Islamic education, such as ethical teaching, linguistic contributions, and the dual focus on secular and religious knowledge, continue to shape contemporary education in India. So, learners, I hope you have get a clear picture about Islamic philosophy, Islamic education system, and implementations of education system in the influences of Islamic education system in our present day system of education in India, and also the Islamic education system strength, loopholes, all about everything. You have got a clear picture through our discussions and through the text that will be available in your platform. And hope we will meet again with new discussions. And till then, thank you so much.